There's a quiet street in a small Midwestern town where nothing extraordinary ever seems to happen. But on that ordinary street lived a man named Ethan Cole, a woodworker known for his calm smile and his unfinished projects. Ethan loved the excitement of new ideas. His workshop was filled with half-built chairs, sculptures he abandoned halfway, and tables missing their legs. He had talent, a lot of it, but talent only mattered when paired with consistency, and that was the one thing Ethan lacked. One warm afternoon, a woman in her late 60s knocked on his door. She introduced herself as Margaret and held a wooden box wrapped in an old faded cloth. Her husband had made the jewelry box 40 years ago, and since he passed away, it no longer closed properly and the music inside no longer played. Her voice trembled as she said, "It was his last gift to me. They say you can fix what others can't." The sentiment touched Ethan deeply. He agreed immediately, the spark of excitement lighting up his eyes. A delicate, emotional restoration project was exactly the kind of work he loved to start. That night, he opened the box under the soft glow of his workshop lamp. Inside, he found a rusted music cylinder, a fragile spring barely holding together, and cracks in the wood from age. For the first couple of days, Ethan worked with passion, taking the box apart piece by piece, cleaning its parts, sketching ideas for repair. But soon the real work began. Slow, tedious sanding, aligning tiny gears, rebuilding the fragile mechanism. The excitement faded quickly. Suddenly, the project felt overwhelming. His mind drifted to other ideas, more exciting ones, waiting to be started. Before long, the jewelry box lay unfinished on the table, just like everything else he had ever abandoned, when the thrill disappeared. Days passed, and Ethan avoided the broken box altogether. He kept telling himself he would get to it tomorrow, but tomorrow never came. One evening, while closing the shop, he accidentally knocked over a stack of wooden boards. Behind them was an old wooden toolbox he hadn't opened in years. It had belonged to his father, a man who was never famous, but known for being steady, reliable, and disciplined. Inside the box was a thin notebook filled with simple notes. Nothing dramatic, nothing inspirational, just daily entries about small fixes. Repaired Mrs. Harris's porch chair. Took 3 hours. Sanded door frame again, still uneven. Try tomorrow. Carved toy boat for Timmy. He smiled. Good day. Page after page showed the same truth. His father didn't wait for motivation. He didn't chase inspiration. He simply showed up and worked, no matter how boring or repetitive the task. On the last page, one sentence was written in bold pencil. Great things aren't built when you feel like it. They're built when you show up anyway. Those simple words hit Ethan harder than anything before. That night, something shifted inside him. The next morning, Ethan walked into the workshop with a new rule for himself. 1 hour a day. He would work on the jewelry box for 1 hour, every single day, without fail, regardless of how he felt. The first few days were painfully slow. He barely made visible progress. His mind kept screaming at him to quit. But he didn't. He kept showing up. Slowly, something began to change. He discovered a quiet pride in the small tasks, like smoothing out a crack in the wood or cleaning a stubborn gear. The work was no longer a frustration. It was becoming a rhythm, a calm routine. After 3 steady weeks, he finally found the problem, a tiny misaligned gear tooth hidden deep inside the music mechanism. It was almost invisible, something only someone with patience would find. With careful hands, he fixed it and began to reassemble the 1,000 pieces of the music box. When he finished, he wound the small key gently. At first, there was silence. Then, suddenly, a soft and fragile melody filled the room. A song that hadn't played in decades.
Ethan sat back, overwhelmed, realizing that he had accomplished something he never thought possible. Not just fixing the box, but fixing a part of himself. When Margaret returned, Ethan placed the restored jewelry box gently in front of her. She opened the lid, and the music played perfectly. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "This is exactly how it sounded on our wedding day." In that emotional moment, Ethan finally understood what his father had always known. The work we do for others, the steady, quiet effort, the tasks we complete even when no one is watching, those are the things that give our life meaning. The lesson is simple. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. The spark gets you started, but the engine gets you to your destination. Learn to love the process, not just the prize. Success is not built on great days. It's built on ordinary days, when you choose to show up even when you don't feel like it. One step, one task, 1 hour at a time. That is how real growth happens. And if you can do that, if you can show up even on the boring days, there is nothing you cannot build.